I think this might actually be kind of a hot take, but buying a house was one of the worst things I've ever done.
Hello everyone, welcome back. In today's video, young homeowners share their experiences and explain why many say buying a home early became one of the worst financial decisions they ever made. They talk about the expectations they had going in, the realities they faced after purchasing, the financial pressure, stress, and regret that followed. This video explores rising costs, lifestyle limitations, unexpected expenses, and the lessons learned from buying a home at a young age, offering honest reflections for anyone considering home ownership.
I'm gonna keep it 100%. Home ownership is not what I expected it to be. Honestly, if I had my time back, I would never in a million years have bought a condo. I regret it so much. It's one of the biggest regrets of my life. Renting, you have that like stress-free, no worry in the world. If something in my condo breaks, it's my responsibility to fix that issue. If I'm renting, I just call up my property manager, landlord, whoever, and just say, hey, this is broken, this appliance isn't working. It's their responsibility to send somebody in and fix that ASAP. When you're a homeowner, you're the one that has to do the research on finding someone to come in. You're the one that has to take the time and make sure everything's working smoothly. It's such a headache. I'll give you an example. Today, I had the unit below my condo say that they have a leak in their washroom. It's my responsibility to call a plumber, contact the property manager, and make sure it's fixed. And when you're a renter, that's not my problem. Like, my landlord will fix that problem. I'm paying rent, and that's a wrap. That's where my responsibility finishes. If I could turn back time, I would never have bought. I would have just stayed a renter. And honestly, the extra money that I would have had, I don't have to pay property taxes, I don't have to pay for repairs. Extra money, I would have poured it into investments. And future me would have been a lot better off. Just something to keep in mind, home ownership the grass isn't always greener on the other side. Just a fruit for thought. You guys have a great day. Bye.
Did you just buy a house less than 6 months ago? Then this message is for you. Stop looking through Zillow. Stop looking at homes, because buyer regret is very real. So if you just bought a home within the last 6 months, maybe even the last year or so, remember, there will always be better homes than the one you bought. And there will always be worse homes than the one you bought. So do yourself a favor, lay off Zillow. There's a reason why you decided to put in an offer for that specific home. There's something that you liked about it. So stop stalking Zillow and make sure you enjoy your home as it is.
I think this might actually be kind of a hot take, but buying a house was one of the worst things I've ever done. Obviously, everyone wants different things. Every market is different. Everyone's personal financial situation is different. Blah, 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 blah. Basically, we live just outside of Austin, and we bought a house, and houses here are just very expensive. So like, we couldn't really get a cheap house. So our house is a little pricey. And we bought about 2 years ago, and we did a new build, so we didn't have to put a lot of money down, which was great. But anyway, when we signed the contract to buy the house, it was still being built. By the time we closed, interest rates had gone up by almost a full percentage point. And we also locked in when house prices were the highest. So basically we bought it the worst time possible in, the past few years. Within 2 months of living in that house, I realized that I did not want to live there. It's way too far from all of our favorite stuff. It's way too expensive. It's too much space, honestly. I don't like having to care for that much space. And I don't like feeling locked down. I don't like feeling like we can't just pick up and move when our lease is up or something. It took my husband longer to realize he felt the same way, but he also feels the same way. We decided that we would try to sell our house because we were we're just not happy here. This wasn't the best decision for us. Let's just go. And we listed it a year and a half, tried to list it at a price where we would at least break even. And obviously we haven't sold yet. It's been a year and a half. At this point, we are taking a huge loss on the house and taking out a personal loan to cover it, which I know sounds crazy, but our rent will be so drastically cheaper that even with a personal loan payment each month, we are each still saving like $1,000 a month once we move to an apartment. I don't necessarily regret buying the house because I'm the kind of person that has to do something in order to realize whether I like it or not. And so I had it in my mind that like buying a house was the goal. Like everyone wants a house. It's the best decision you can make. It's a great financial investment, which like it absolutely can be if you time the market correctly, or if you're just going to stay there for like a really long time. Although I will say we've calculated, even if we stayed for 30 years, say paid off our whole mortgage, and then wanted to sell our house and like make back money on it, the amount of money we would have paid in interest and everything, all said and done, our house would at that point have cost us like, I think almost $2 million or something, or like 1.7 million dollars. And I kind of doubt that even in 30 years, we could sell for 2 mil or something and make, you know, a few $100,000 off of it. Like I just don't think it's ever gonna be an investment that like pays off for us. I don't like totally regret doing it because I think I had to do it in order to realize it's not what I want. But if I could go back, obviously I would not buy the house. I would just stay renting in Austin. We would have saved so much money. But I think I would have always longed for a house, and I think I would have hated renting because I thought I wanted a house. So anyway, as my uncle put it, education is expensive. And that made me feel like the tiniest bit better about it. But anyway, I'm very excited to go back to renting. I don't think I will ever buy a house again unless I can pay for it basically in cash. Or we are just like, you know, set for life, kind of rich, don't ever have to worry about a mortgage. We can pay people to take care of the landscaping, all that stuff. Because living here in Austin, apartments are really nice. And compared to other major cities, they're very cheap for what they are. You get a lot of amenities. Like if you get a good management, you know, company, like they're great about taking care of stuff. There's always like a resort style pool, a great gym, like it's a good setup. So in order for us to have that at home, especially with a pool, it would just be very expensive. So anyway, all in all, I don't recommend buying a house, unless, you know, you're like wanting to stay there for a long time and you're really sure about that. I just think it's not the right move for a lot of people. And it's like such a narrative that it's the best thing that you can do. And it's the American dream and it's the goal. And like, it's just not for everyone.
I bought a house at 22 years old and I regret it. So let me tell you why. So we thought that we were going to buy a house to begin our investment journey. But let me tell you something, investing is very expensive. And the town that I picked is not the town for me. I thought that because the house was cheap enough, I could maybe like stand living here for a little while and then move somewhere else. That moving somewhere else part never happened. Owning a house is so expensive and now it's difficult for me to go to the next place. I'm thinking about having a mortgage and having my brother like pay it and a rent because of how much I hate this town. And for context, I moved from South Florida to Port St. Lucie. If you know, you know, houses in Port St. Lucie here are so much more affordable, but it was not worth it. The lifestyle is just not for me. And I completely regret taking on this responsibility of owning a house. Beyond that, the amount that we spent on the renovation was way too much. Of course, with every construction, there's unexpected costs, but with this house, it was just so much. And the money that we were going to use to help on our next investment property ended up being swallowed up on this house. Much as you say that you're not going to be emotional about it because it's just an investment, it winds up happening. Like at the end of the day, this is the house you're going to live in. It's your first house. It's all a very emotional process. And so we ended up spending too much. And now I am stuck in a house that I don't want to be in a town that I absolutely hate, all because I thought that I couldn't start my investment journey by buying a house.
Hey sis, I heard you were thinking about buying a house. I'm here to tell you not to. Don't do it. Don't do it, bitch. Let me tell you exactly why. Last night, I'm in my laundry room, minding my business, doing my laundry, you know, trying to be a housewife. I actually wasn't because I wasn't even doing his laundry. I was doing mine. Doesn't matter. Irrelevant. I'm walking on the ground. I'm like, why does it feel... I'm hearing this squish sound. This squish. It kept going... Shh, shh. I was like, it sounds like water's under the floor. When I moved into my condo, there was already this little hump in the wood on the floor by the AC unit that is in a closet. And I was just like, oh, like, you know, the floors are where they are. Like, I'm assuming because I bought my home fully renovated that just it comes with the house. This is just coming, this is with the territory. This is what it is. The floor is a little wonky. That was in 2022. You know, I go about my business as usual with my little warped floor. Charm. It's charming. It's charming to have a little bump in the floor, a little imperfection in the home. No. Apparently, my AC unit has been sweating and collecting water that has leaked under the unit into the ground, into the floor. And I've noticed over the past month that that little hump has become a big hump and that the floor has become a little more warped than usual. Listen, I'm just a girl. So yes, I can admit that I ignored things. I ignored things. If you know me by now, then you know that I have dealt with a lot of issues with my home since I moved in. I have a psychotic upstairs neighbor who has flooded my house now twice. 2 times in 3 months that I was first living here. First, he flooded my guest bathroom, then he flooded my primary bathroom, and I have had to spend thousands of dollars because insurance didn't cover it to fix water damage in my home twice now. So anything having to do with water in this home, I have very, very understandable PTSD. Like, I don't want to deal with any further issue from this home, period. Fast forward to last night, I'm walking on the floor and I hear squish squish, and I'm like, what the fuck? And then I do a little lean to my left foot. Water coming out the side plank of the wood into my guest bathroom. So naturally, I'm unwell. I'm looking it up on ChatGPT. I'm sending ChatGPT pictures. I'm like, what does this mean? Is my house flooding? You know what? Listen, I know we're not supposed to use ChatGPT, but ChatGPT was saving me last night because I was clearly about to have a heart attack. I send the pictures of the wider image of where the water's coming from, what's going on. Chat is like, hey sis. Well, actually it said, sorry bestie, I think that this is an issue with your AC unit. Sorry you're dealing with this. I look at my AC unit, they're like, check for any kind of water. Is there any water dripping? There's water on the filter, which is also dirty as fuck because, newsflash, the filters for the AC units say that they are good for up to 3 months. If you are running your AC every day, I just learned this 5 seconds ago, you're supposed to be changing that filter once a month. Hello. Then the AC guy, so lovely. He came, checked my shit out, was like, yeah, sis, these need monthly maintenance from you to change the filters out. You need maintenance like 4 times a year on your HVAC unit. How the fuck am I supposed to know that? How am I supposed to know that? Who was gonna tell me that? Then he's like, well, you know, like your filter in your dishwasher is supposed to change that. Who's supposed to change that? Who's supposed to change that? I said, what? He was like, I used to work on home appliances. Let me take a look. He takes a look. Clean as a whistle. Thank God. He was like, do you have a cleaning lady? I was like, yeah, I have a cleaning lady. He's like, the cleaning lady's probably been cleaning it for you. I said, thank God for Sandra. Because what? Then he showed me some flute system thing that comes out of the sink that puts the water into the sink that comes with the dishwasher. That's not my testimony. I am not meant for that. I am not meant for that. I'm meant for this. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm not supposed to be checking filters. What? And like, I love my man down. That's also not what he's supposed to be doing. Who is supposed to be doing that? Who's supposed to be doing that? Maybe he is the one supposed to be doing that. But we don't do it. What? We've never done that before. We've never thought about, like, who is teaching y'all home maintenance things? Who is teaching you? And where do I hire them and how do I get them in my life ASAP? Because what the actual fuck? Then he was like, well, you know, also your fridge filter needs to be changed. Do you use the ice machine? Do you use the water? What? He was like, yeah, some filters have to be changed like every year. What are you talking about? He pops it open. Guess how often the filter needs to be changed? I'll wait. If your answer was every 6 months, every 6 months, ask me when the last time it was changed. Actually, don't fucking ask me. But ask me when was the last time I used ice. Yesterday. I am sick to my stomach, fam. This is the craziest shit, and this is the shit that comes with home ownership that they don't tell you about. They don't tell you about this shit. They think, oh, I have a home, I post with my keys, oh, look, with champagne. Fuck all that. Get an apartment. 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 Live in that apartment 2-3 years, whatever. You got your super, you got your maintenance guy, they come by, they do the shit. Because now my floors definitely fucked. Definitely have to get ripped up. Definitely have to get replaced. My AC unit needs a full fixer. It's only 3 years old, but now there's water condensate, overflow, flooding, issue, bacteria buildup getting into the air in the house. What if I just drop dead? Mind you, we're renovating the house in New Jersey. And so now I'm like, oh, yes, okay, the more you know. This is great. Now I have new information to take me into my next home ownership. My other thought is, bitch, you don't need to have no motherfucking house. What are you talking about? You can't even handle the one you've got. How are you gonna handle? Is there a housewifery course that you can take that teaches you these things? Because I feel like between the boomers and Gen X, there's some shit that y'all are not passing down. And I resent nepotism. Because how am I a nepo baby? I don't know nothing. Not even a real nepo baby. I'm like just a first gen kid with some shit. And so now I'm like, what the fuck? Because I don't even know any of this shit. Who's gonna teach me? My parents were so busy, happy to make sure that I had everything I needed. Bitch, you were supposed to be teaching me something about filters. Who's gonna teach me? Anyway, I told the HVAC guy he needs to start a TikTok series because the girls don't know what the fuck is going on. At least not me. If you do, hats off to you. Let me tell you who does know. The girls who be doing all that home ec shit with like the saws and shit that they go to Home Depot and they run, they know this shit. Me, just a little girly pop with a fun drink, I don't know anything. If you're watching this, you probably don't either. So check your filters, change them out, get maintenance, and I'm with you, sis. Don't buy a motherfucking house. Thank you.
I think one of my biggest pieces of advice for first-time homebuyers, and one of my regrets, so learn from my mistakes, is to slow down. Most of my first-time homebuyers, myself included, are buying fixer-uppers, right? Like, it's where we live is super expensive. Most of them need a little bit of work, and you want it done so fast. Sit on it for a little while. See what works in the house. See what floors you like. Figure out your style. Make a Pinterest board. I immediately got a new privacy fence. Ordered a custom back door, like new carpet. I wanted, honestly, looking back, I spent way too much money. And then I would make more money and I would still spend it because I wanted to get the house done, and it's still not done. And also, I didn't know my style and what I wanted. So now looking back, I would honestly change a lot of what I did. Even if you have it, don't spend all your money, please. That is one of my biggest regrets, and it doesn't happen overnight. Making a house a home takes time, and I mean, here I am 3 years later, still renovating, obviously. So it's just chill out a little bit. Just chill, feel the house, figure out what you like, save up a little bit of money, and just know that you're gonna get there eventually, but making a house a home does take time.
Buying a house is completely overrated, for real. You guys see all this grass right here in that barn? That's all mine. I own that land. Oh yeah, and all that, and 3 acres all around. If you don't know how big an acre is, holy shit. But yeah, I bought this house last year for my mom. It's her retirement home. We're in the hills, and I had been renting for, I would say, 2 years. We've all been renting for a long time, like paying over 10K a month to rent. Everybody on God's green earth looks at you and thinks you're crazy for, oh, you rent, why not just buy? Because when you rent, you're like paying half the fucking mortgage, by the way. If you're in a $5 million house and the mortgage is $30,000 a month, they're gonna rent it to you for 15K because that's just what's on the market. Sure, you may be throwing your money away, but people don't talk about fucking property taxes. I paid like 15 grand to fucking property taxes. I pay hella interest. I'm on a 7.5 interest rate, which is a shit ton. Now, the only reason why I really like this property is because we're gonna build. It's a shit ton of land. All the land is buildable. If I wanted to sell this property right now, I would make like 500K. Like, we got a pretty nice hookup on it. But if you're like gonna buy a regular ass house, bro, make sure you understand everything: property taxes, interest rates, like the actual true cost of owning a house, plus all the maintenance, plus all the repairs, plus all. I just spent $20,000 on fucking grass. That's 20 bands. Yeah.
I'm going to say it. It might be a little controversial, but I'm going to say it. I don't think buying a house is all it's cracked up to be. I don't. I said it. There is so much pressure to settle down to buy a house, especially when you have children. And I just want to say it's not that easy for everybody. I think it's easier to settle down and find and like stay put when you have family, or like you're super close with your family, like you have a hometown. Does that make sense? I'm so thankful for our house and so thankful that our kids have so much land to just run free. However, we know we won't be here forever. So, I know, I thought this was gonna be forever. We thought so too. But we live in an area where the schools are horrible. Bad. I will never send my kids to school here. So if I ever want to put our kids in school, we have to move somewhere else where the schools are better. Living in the woods is great, but it is hard being a mother, and I will say I miss the community. I miss walking around. I miss the community pool, the community park. So in 5 years or whatever, I hope that we can find something that makes Tyler and I both happy. And I'm not really sure I want to buy another house for a very long time. So I'd rather rent. And I know people say owning a house is cheaper. Not right now. Rent would be way cheaper than a mortgage. At least for us. We also can't just call up a landlord and be like, hey, this is going wrong, please fix it. No, we have to call a company and be like, hey, this is going wrong, and then we have to pay them money, lots of money. So that's just my 2 cents on buying a house. And I don't like feeling stuck, and buying a house makes me feel stuck. So don't ever feel bad for renting and just being in a rental, because honestly, I miss it.
My biggest financial regret that I've ever had in life was purchasing a home back in 2021 for these 3 reasons. Number 1, I had to put a 30% down payment on my home. My down payment was roughly around $330,000. I bought my 2-bedroom, 3-bath townhome for $910,000. And the reason why we had to put so much down at the time was just because of my income. I was only making around, I think, $100,000 to $110,000. That was the only way we could get the math work. Now, my monthly mortgage payment, if you factor in interest, taxes, HOA, etc., it's roughly around $4,200. If I was renting right now, I could probably rent a really nice 2-bedroom condo or an apartment for $3,500. So that would save me $700 a month. However, had I just not bought a home, I could have taken that $300 and $10,000, $20,000 that I used as a down payment and just invested in the stock market. We all know the stock market bottomed in 2022, and fuck man, you see where it is today, right? I could easily have an extra, at the very minimum, couple $100,000 in my stock portfolio. Number 2, in the market that I live in, renting is actually cheaper than buying a home. Again, as I previously stated, I probably am paying an extra, $700 to $1,000 more per month by owning a home rather than renting one. And then number 3, owning a home is just really, really overrated. There's maintenance that you have to worry about. I've already had to replace an AC, and my home is like 3 to 4 years old. So it's actually really, really new. I'm sure at some point I'm going to have to replace a dishwasher, a washer and dryer. Owning a home is not cheap. There are a lot of expenses that come with maintaining a home, and you have to do it yourself. If I lived in an apartment complex, I could call the landlord and then they would send somebody to help me fix the problem. Honestly, if I could do it again, I would just rent a nicer apartment or a condo, whatever, in a nicer community, and then just invested my money instead in the stock market. But again, everybody's different. Everybody has different ways to invest and build wealth. Real estate is not one avenue of building wealth that I really like. All right, guys, hope you guys like this video. Make sure you guys follow and like for more.
I think I fully regret buying a house now. Like, it's not the worst choice I ever made, but it's so expensive. But at the same time, it's exactly what rent would be costing me anyways. I'm almost an hour away from where I want to be and almost an hour away from work. It's a lot of upkeep, a lot of maintenance. I feel like the housing market could crash at any minute, and interest rates were high when I bought it, and so were prices. I rationalized it by telling myself, well, it's the same amount as rent and I should get something back out of it at the end of the day, which honestly at this point might not even be true. And I'm far away from everything and I have an hour-long commute and I'm tired and I'm in a 3-bedroom house and I live alone. I'm very thankful that I'm able to do this. Don't get me wrong. I just don't know if it was the right choice and I'm stressing over it right now. And I've only been here for like 8 months. I don't know what to do.
Before you buy your next house, please think about these next 5 things, and I promise you it's more important than your countertops. You're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on a home, so I really hope that you're ideally wanting to spend at least 5 years in it. So let's talk about what you should consider before writing that offer. Number 1 is storage. Where are you going to put your ever-mounting growing amount of stuff that you're going to accumulate over the next several years as kids get older, or you start having kids, or parents want to move in, parents give you stuff? It's a long list of things that you're going to need to put stuff somewhere. And if the property doesn't have a garage, do you have the ability to put a shed? Do you have an attic? What does your closet space look like? Things like that. Number 2 is schools. If you do not have kids yet, I don't really think this is a major consideration, because once you have kids, you still don't need to think about schools until at least another 5 years. Now, if you're pregnant or have a toddler and you're starting to buy your next home, this is when I would start to consider it a little bit more, because again, you want longevity in your home. You don't want to have to move within a short time span. Is land ever going to be important to you? This is a big thing where a lot of people want to move into the next home because they're like, I just want space, or I want a yard. If you find a home with an adequate yard first, you'll probably not get the itch to leave as quickly. Proximity of neighbors is a big reason I hear about people wanting to move to the next house. So if you get one that might need a little bit of updating, but the neighbors are really far apart, you can always update the home, but you can't change the lot.
I honestly wish somebody would have told me how overrated it is to own a home. My fiance and I just sold our house. We are back to renting. I'm ecstatic. He's ecstatic. We're saving so much. We were really young and stupid when we bought our house, so I'll give you that. But the weight that has been lifted off of our shoulders is, I can't explain it. There is so much maintenance that comes with the house, and our mortgage was ridiculously expensive. I can't even say the number because I'm embarrassed. We are probably not going to buy again for a very long time, or at least until we find our forever home. Just a PSA. If you're not ready for the maintenance and the cost that it comes to own a house, don't do it. Take your time. Please take your time. Find a good realtor.
Hi, my name's Jermaine. I regret buying my house for a few reasons, but here's the main one: interest. Guys, I am convinced that I have the highest interest rate in the UK. I purchased my house in February 2024 when the interest rates in the UK were sky high. So I absolutely knew what I was getting myself into. However, when you're excited, you kind of forget about the reality of the situation, but it's fully kicking in right now. So let's look at what my interest rate looks like versus how much I'm actually paying against my house. So my mortgage costs around £1,244 every single month. Only £352 and a few pence of that goes against my actual mortgage amount itself, which they call a principal repayment. I'm not a mortgage advisor, I'm not a broker, so excuse me if the terminology is incorrect. £352 is how much I'm paying against my mortgage loan amount. The rest, which is around £890, is going straight to the bank, and that is interest. £890 in interest. Now, in February next month, which is when my next payment comes out, I would have paid £8,174 against my mortgage amount and £20,000 in interest. I'm tired. Like, I'm absolutely tired. I personally don't think there's anyone out there with a higher rate than me. If you have a higher mortgage rate than myself, then how are you coping? Like, what are your strategies? What are you doing?